She's so fine, hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a lights my day.
This is Madison County 911. What's the address of your emergency?
Yes, I need the cops and an ambulance. Yeah, apparently a guy just shot himself.
You said a guy just shot himself?
Yeah.
And that's it?
Yeah.
And is that where you are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is he breathing at all?
Yeah. No.
Do you think he's beyond any help? Do you want to try CPR?
Somehow I got in the back of my... okay.
Okay, you're cutting out.
Hang on a second. Okay. 'I can't even get transferred. Hey.
Can you hear me?
See if he's breathing. Thank you, yes.
He is breathing?
He's gasping for air, they said.
How old is he, do you know?
How old is he, like? Maybe 20, 19, 20, 21, somewhere like that.
Shot at?
In my head.
In the head?
Or, thank you. I can't really see him back there.
Is he alert at all? Is he conscious?
He don't look like it.
And when did this happen?
3 minutes ago.
You said 3 minutes ago?
Oh, you.
Okay, you're hard to hear again.
Anyway.
You're cutting out, sir. You're cutting out. I can't understand you.
Trying to find the spot where I can talk. Hello?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Right now I called you.
What was your name?
James Wade.
Can you hear me?
What's good, guys? This story is coming out of Missouri. Came out on August the 1st via the STL Today. Article wrote by Bobby Radford. And I want to thank Marie722 for sending this story to me. Coroner's inquest. Death of Missouri teen caused by violence, not suicide. A coroner's inquest held Friday, about 90 miles south of St. Louis, ruled that a Park Hills, Missouri man did not die in April by suicide, as initially determined, but as a result of violence. The jury's decision, while welcomed by the man's family, has only added to the mystery of what happened on April the 25th in a rural Missouri home that led to Derontae Martin's death. Martin's family lived in the St. Louis area until about a decade ago, when they moved to Park Hills. Derontae Martin, 19, was found unconscious with a gunshot to his head in the attic of a home near Fredericktown. A birthday party had taken place at the home, and some of the people who were at the gathering told police that Derontae Martin had shot himself. The initial ruling of suicide was questioned by the man's family and community members, so a coroner's inquest was scheduled to review evidence and witness testimony, allowing a 6-person jury to make the call on Derontae Martin's death. The jury had to decide among 4 options: that Derontae Martin's death was the result of violence, suicide, accident, or natural causes. Jury members listened and took notes as Madison County Prosecutor M. Dwight Robbins called nearly 20 witnesses, including Missouri Highway Patrol officers and people who were at the party, and he also presented evidence gathered at the scene. Dr. Russell Dedeker, the pathologist who performed the autopsy on Derontae Martin, testified that the 19-year-old had died of a gunshot wound to his left temple. He said that a soot ring indicated the gun was fired at near contact to Derontae Martin's head. A second autopsy, which was commissioned by Derontae Martin's family, indicated the gun had been fired from a different range. Dr. Dedeker said the second autopsy had been performed after Martin's body had already been cleaned and prepared. Because of this, the pathologist said it didn't change his opinion. Toxicology results also showed drugs in Derontae Martin's system, Dr. Dedeker testified. The jury heard from other witnesses, along with written statements from people who attended the birthday party. Some described Derontae Martin's behavior as paranoid. Others claimed various people at the party may have been involved in Martin's death. The party was held for the daughter of the homeowner, James Wade, who on Facebook has mocked foreign accents and defended the Confederate flag. Earlier this year, he posted a meme showing a hand flipping the middle finger. It reads, quote, "Here's my apology for being white," end quote. Another witness statement alleged that James Wade and 2 others had murdered Derontae Martin, while another witness said James Wade told him that, quote, "he did it," end quote. A deputy said that the allegation was not supported by any evidence. James Wade also testified, admitting he has used racial slurs, but denied saying he shot Derontae Martin, a black man. The evidence portion of the inquest ended at 11:15 a.m., and the jury deliberated for nearly 2 hours. The jury returned at 1:23 p.m. with their verdict. The cause of death was violence, not suicide. It is unclear exactly how the case proceeds now. Robbins, the prosecutor, declined requests for comment after the inquiry was adjourned. Derontae's mother and grandmother were overjoyed with the jury's decision. Derontae Martin's mother, Erica Lotz, danced in the courthouse hall, shouting praise to God before briefly collapsing in a chair and crying heavily. Kimberly Lotz, Derontae Martin's grandmother, said she was thankful for the outcome, but acknowledged that much work still needed to be done to get justice in Derontae Martin's death. "I am happy," Lotz exclaimed. "I am happy that somebody else saw. Glory to God." I could just shout. But we got a long way to go, so we'll just keep on praying and keep on trusting in the Lord. Now, there was an interview done with a community activist from that area, and it was published on peoplesvoice.org 3 months ago, roughly. And I wanted to bring that because it does give you context for what's going on in that area and so many other areas. Their article says Derontae Martin, 19, was reported dead early in the morning on April 25th at a residence located at 1773 Highway Z in Fredericktown, Missouri, owned by a white man named James Wade. Fredericktown is roughly an hour and a half from St. Louis, Missouri. Martin, a resident of Park Hills, Missouri, allegedly died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head at 3:01 a.m., according to local authorities. This interview with a local activist who has been seeking to raise attention to discrepancies in this situation reveals some sordid ties and connections. Tell me a bit about Derontae. What was his background? What work did he do? How was his standing in the community? Derontae was 19 years old. He was from St. Louis. He was a defensive lineman at Central High School, recently graduated. He was training to get ready to go to football camp. He was well respected and liked in the community. At his vigil, teachers, classmates, parents of classmates, and others who knew him showed solidarity and support. Were there incidents like this before in this area? What are the demographics like? How do most people in this area make a living? What are the race relations like? This is supposedly not the first, quote, suicide, end quote, that has taken place on James Wade's property. James Wade is extremely racist and has made outrageous statements on Facebook against black people. He also has known ties to law enforcement in the area. An individual I know came out of the nationalist scene here as a teenager and described Fredericktown as open territory for them. The demographics: this area is 1% black, 4% Hispanic, and 95% white. This town only has around 3,500 people. Most of the people here work either at the prisons or in light industrial warehouses in the area. To get here requires taking I-55, and all the small towns on either side are full of racists. The traditionalist American Knights of the Ku Klux Klan are in Fredericktown. The main thing here is a lot of drug activity and big money being made off drugs. The Klan is involved in that. They do not like outsiders. Black Lives Matter protests last year started after the murder of George Floyd. Local activists here were chased down the street by boog boys and Klansmen holding nooses in their hands. The cops did nothing. It's like 60 years ago down here. They reached out to a local liberal activist group in St. Louis who promised to send buses full of people down here. Nobody came. A friend of his, who is from the area, described Fredericktown as, quote, hella rotten. It's like the Dukes of Hazzard down there, except worse, because the Dukes aren't there. The towns and rural areas surrounding it too, end quote. What do you think happened at the party? First of all, the party wasn't even for Derontae's school. He went to Central. There's multiple accounts of how he got there. The main one is that he was picked up and brought there by some friends. Derontae supposedly was reluctant to go because some guys that he had problems with were going to be there and supposedly trying to attack him. Why would they want to fight him? There was a guy named Adam who was arrested in Park Hills, Farmington, because of an alleged shooting and got charged with first-degree assault. Apparently, this white kid thought that Derontae had said something about him to authorities and wanted payback. James Wade was known for throwing these types of parties, and a lot of people think that he worked with these kids to set Derontae up. James Wade also knows cops down there. Put two and two together. What organizing has already been done around this issue in Fredericktown? What are the opinions of black people in the area about this situation? The protests that have been going on in Fredericktown and Park Hills have been mostly white. The black people here seem to have either been intimidated or are unconcerned. It's a fearful environment down here. Nobody wants to be next. What has the Madison County Sheriff's Office been doing? You mentioned incidents of possible corruption going beyond this. Can you go deeper and explain this? People here think they're working with James Wade and possibly even with some drug dealers. I've heard accounts of ties between drug activity and so-called law enforcement in this area from those who've lived here for years. A lot of these small rural towns are like this. Check this out. When the cops showed up, the crime scene was cleaned. The cops were okay with it. Derontae Martin's body was found in a closet, yet he supposedly died out in the attic. There were supposed to be 4 other dudes up here with him. How did his body get in the closet? Was it dragged? His right hand was in a fresh cast. How can somebody with his good hand in a cast raise a pistol to their head and fire it? Do you trust the administration of Madison County to provide justice for Derontae? Why or why not? Absolutely not. Starting with the fact that James Wade hasn't been arrested. Apparently the officers have been back to James Wade's house. Why? Why the rush to rule this self-inflicted in light of evidence shared by family and friends? How can those of us who live in St. Louis area and across the country provide support for the people in the struggle in Fredericktown? Share any information that we run across regarding Derontae. You notice that this is not being covered in any mainstream media outlet. Keep eyes open for any actions going on in the area around Park Hills and Fredericktown in the coming weeks. Please assist with numbers for actions and finances for family. There is no guarantee that justice will be served by these racist, corrupt authorities down here. He also went on to give a cash app for the family. And I will show that on the screen at this time for those that feel obligated to do so. Or not obligated. Even if you just shared it, it would be fantastic. But I wanted to bring this story to the channel because this happens on a regular basis. I've mentioned it several times that I am working on a situation out of Southern Illinois, and it is so very similar to this. And it is so incredibly hard to get justice in these cases where you have a full police force that is corrupt. And that's a lot of times what you deal with in these small rural areas. I'm going to continue to fight for justice for that family. And I'm not even going to speak on that right this second. But in regards to this case, it was previously discussed that the 911 call, someone was muting it. No, it wasn't being muted. They were redacting information. And the call was breaking up, which further complicates it. You do hear the girl in the background speaking, and you can make your own opinions and observations regarding what she said in the background. I know what I think she said, and that's just my opinion. Do I think Derontae was killed? Absolutely. I absolutely do. And I'm so glad that this 6-person jury thought the same thing. But you think about this. Had it not been for the family pushing and the second autopsy, this would not have went anywhere. It would have been a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that would have been end of story, book closed. Now you think about how many times that happens. Those are the cases that I want to cover. Those are the cases that I want to bring attention to. Has it been in the mainstream media now? Yes. But only because of what happened at the tail end. It wasn't covered on the front end. And that's where it's wrong. So I definitely wanted to bring this story to the channel. And I'm going to continue to cover stories like this and bring light to them. I don't give a damn if they don't monetize anything I had. Actually, the last several videos I've done, they haven't monetized at all. And I'm cool with that. Like, that don't bother me none. I want the stories to get out there. That's my main thing. So, I hope that Derontae and his family get justice in this case. And I will keep you updated on it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.